A flow here. So today I'm going to be doing, oops, oh, no, what just happened? Drop some stuff on the floor today. Okay, so today I'm going to be sketching, I guess, whatever. Back in March I started a sketch journal, and last few days I haven't really drawn much, so I decided to do something today. I don't have any big plans, just whatever happens. Might do some testing first. Well, actually, I am going to. That's my plan. Not very interesting, but it's not too concerning. So this is my journal I've been keeping recently. Seems like that's going to be really light. I wonder if there's anything I can do. Problem is the camera, every camera is a little bug on my, anyway, every camera overexposes, every single one. I was kind of hoping to get the camera a little bit closer too, but I don't know, I'll work on that for future streams, I guess. Oh, I guess I can't change the settings on this microphone while it's being used. Oh, never mind. Testing, 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 testing. Testing, testing, testing. Okay, there's a big jump. Like it has gain settings. One's really low, one's really high, but oh well. I guess I'll go with the high one. I don't want it to be too quiet. Oh, forgot to turn my music down. All right. Oh, I was looking. I know what I was doing. I was looking for my pins. I might just only do testing today. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really care. Be right back. Looking for my big pouch of pins. I don't know why it's not in with everything else, but probably took it out for something. Yep, there it is. I'm gonna grab some other pens while I'm up, because I might test a few other pens. You'll see what I mean when I get started by testing stuff. That's not very self-explanatory, but I will explain what I'm talking about once I get back to the desk. Just grabbing some stuff that I failed to get before the stream. Oh, just black? I can't tell. Might actually test that too. Alright, so I need to get my big old bin of pens. Oh, I could test these. I am almost certain I know the result of those already, but I'll try them anyway. I've already done this in the long distant past. It's been too long, so I don't remember the results. So I'm just gonna do it again. All right, so first things first. Going to write the date on here. So this is my actual journal. Like I've kept a journal since I was, I don't know, 16 or something like that. And so I write my personal thoughts in here, whatever stuff that happens that day. I don't write in every day, but anyway, that's what it is, generally speaking. But lately, since March or so, I have started drawing again. I haven't done for years. Oops, I forgot the entire purpose of what I was doing. Got distracted as usual. So lately I have been drawing, and I decided to incorporate that into my sketch journal. Into my journal. And my journal has become a sketch journal. Okay, I'm looking for Uniball, Signo, or Sino. I don't know. I've never known how to say that. I just call it Signo. I don't know how you're supposed to say that. Japanese pens, you can't generally easily find them in the United States. There's a few specialty stores that carry them, and some really good art stores. Like, it's not like you can't get them here. It's just that and I think it's changed in the last few years, but generally for quite a long time, nobody was taking seriously the Japanese pen market, but they're by far the best pens in the world as far as I'm concerned. American pens are not that great in comparison, that's for sure. We don't even really make any pens anymore here. Okay, so what is the date? It's still Saturday, so it's June 7th. Okay, this, I don't understand why it's doing this, but the audio player just keeps playing the same song over and over again. It's supposed to, like, go to the next song. Testing, 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 testing. Okay, I think it's working. Yeah. Just want to make sure the auto ducking was working. Looks like it is. Okay. I probably won't do much journaling while I'm streaming. And we'll just do the art part of it. Let's see. So, first thing I'm going to do is I recently bought some new pens. Some of these are completely new to me. I've never had them before. Other ones, I've had the brand, but maybe not the exact pen. All of these pens are kind of new to me, but that's so weird. I can't click on any of the menus in OBS. It's a really weird bug. Oh, there we go. Let's lock that, unlock that. Oh no. Some major, serious bug with OBS on Linux. It's really strange. Oh, it's super annoying. Yeah, OBS on Linux is absolutely forked. It's completely buggy. I just realized I haven't experienced this particular situation that much, but man, it is bad. It's very, very bad. Wow, that's really horrible, actually. Oh, whoops, I forgot my soccer overlay thing. Yeah, that song is terrible. It's just like literally the same 3 notes. 4 notes, whatever. It's gonna be one of those tech difficulty nightmare streams. Just nonsensical crap. Okay, let me tell you this bug, just in case nobody from OBS or other streamers care or listen to this stuff, but if OBS, I wish OBS was here because I could tell them how crap it is for Linux. If you unlock the docks in OBS Linux and then you try to drag them around, they permanently die and disappear to like the Phantom Zone, like the Superman villain extradition, whatever, like the place where you're sent if you're from Krypton. They just disappear. They don't exist anywhere. They're not floating like anywhere. They're just gone. And you cannot possibly get them back without resetting the UI, which is really irritating. Because why would you want to do that? You make hundreds of thousands of edits to your UI, like tweak it perfectly, and then you drag one thing around, permanently disabled, like destroyed forever. It's really, really bad. Wow. It's crazy. I have to reset the UI. It might actually kill the stream too. Let's see. Wow, that's bad. The little restore dock buttons on each dock, it should like undock them, actually makes them disappear. They just cease to exist. It's horrible. It also makes them never work again. Wow. Yeah, OBS is completely trash in Linux. That's crazy. I never realized how bad it was. It's horrible. Unusable. OBS Studio is unusable on Linux. Wow. Prove me wrong. You can't. Anyone with Linux with OBS, try to move your docks around, especially while you're streaming. Not only do they completely disappear forever until you close OBS and open it back up, they stop having live data refreshes, meaning they're just a bitmap. Nothing happens inside of them. If you move them around, they become a flat bitmap that shows no live information. So your audio mixer, for example, it's just, it doesn't show any like the moving bars, live data of audio information once you've moved it around. That's the case for every dock. It's quite nice. Very irritating actually, but. Guess there's nothing I can do about that right now. The reason I'm even messing with it is because it has, that's where I have my chats. I can't see chat anymore now that the dock is destroyed. I have to put something else on top. It's so bad. I should do a stream. I should do a live stream showing how terrible OBS Studio is on Linux and just send it to the developers. Not to be mean, but just show them that they have their work cut out for them. It's unusable. I don't even know if they care, to be honest, because most people use Windows or Mac. My guess is that they'll just be annoyed. They won't really want to fix it. Alright, well, whatever. That's what I can do about it. Okay, I think I'm ready. I hate that kind of stuff. There's always something going on with streaming tech, something wrong with it. Crazy how bad it is. Okay, so these, I guess these are the same thing. I didn't realize I had two of them. I actually want to get the other brand. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so let me get back to what I was talking about, if possible. Something else is going to go wrong. So I bought some new pens. Some of the brands I'm familiar with, but not necessarily the exact pens. Let me just see what we have here. These right here are the new ones. I think I'm missing one somewhere. Anyway, so this one is one of the best drawing pens I've discovered so far. Rotring Tiki Graphic. It's tested the best as far as water resistance so far. So I already know that one's good. That's the one that I already had. I just bought another one because I realized how good it is. I bought a Copic, which I also have one of these, although this one's probably finer. It's 0.003. This one I also know is good because I already have those. The rest of these are I'm somewhat familiar with, but I've a little bit new. Okay, this one actually I'm not familiar with. Oto graphic liner. This one I'm going to test. I've never owned one of this before. I have an Oto booty ball or something like that. I don't know how to say it. And that one has unique features, but it's mostly terrible because it's so oily and smears massively. But these ones I think are more like pigment fineliners, which are kind of the best. And then we have this Zig cartoonist mangaka. I don't know how to say all that, but there it is. I've had these before, but only in like colors. So I've had like purple and blue, I think, or red. But I don't think I've ever had the black ones. So I'm going to test those, see how they do. And then finally we have Uni Pin fineliners. I have these. I've had these for years, but I've never had a black one. Like here's a red one, a super old one. I use it all the time as my main pen for bookbinding, but I don't think I've ever had the black ones, so I'm going to test those out. So I'm going to test these. I've technically already tested these two, so I don't need to do those again. And then after I test those, I might do some of these other random pens sitting here, and then possibly these inks, some other things. I might not do any drawing today, I don't know. We'll see how fast I can do this. I don't like the lighting, and I wish I could get closer to my subject. I probably could figure out a way to do that. It's not easy though. How would I go about doing that? I have to get very creative. Okay, I'm gonna try. I want to get a little bit closer to the action. Bear with me. Boring junk, but oh well. I have like a million camera mounts. Every possible variation except the one I want. Of course, I can put my camera in almost anywhere in 3D space, but I can't get it quite as close as I want. So I'm gonna try packing together something here real quick. See how quickly I can make this work. I want my phone or camera or whatever to be pretty close to the drawing so that I can see what I'm doing. It's too far away right now. The light also needs to be in a different spot, I guess. That'll be easier said than done. Get the camera in a good place. No problem. The light should be okay. it in a better place somehow. Where? Back there. Should work. Okay, now it's close enough you can actually see what I'm doing. It's right in front of my face though, so it's a little bit hard for me to see what I'm doing. I need one more piece in this puzzle. All right, that should be good. Yeah, that'll work. By the way, I have no clue and no way to figure out if I have audio levels at all on my stream. I'm hoping nothing actually stopped working, but as far as like the audio levels, but I can't change the audio levels because OBS is completely destroyed. There's no way for me to interact with the audio mixer panel. So hopefully it's working. If not, nothing I can do except for closing OBS and restarting the stream. So I wouldn't even know if that was happening unless somebody told me. So we'll just hope for the best. Okay. So what I've been doing, pretty basic, is just writing something with the pen and then testing it for water resistance. Ooh, I like that. It's not very thin. Let's see, what's the size on there? It's, okay, that's why. It's only a 0.1, I think. So it's not very fine. It does, okay, so it is spreading a little bit too, I'm noticing. Might not be able to see that on the stream, but it did feather out a little bit. Okay, so this is called photographic liner. And let's see, I guess that's 1, that's the size. Let's make a little black box here so that it has a place where there's concentrated ink, and then just make a little wavy line. Nothing fancy. I think the other one is exactly the same. I just bought 2 of them, so I don't need to do that twice. This one is the Zig cartoonist mangaka. I don't know how to say that. This one's very nice. I like how thick the pen is. It just feels like you're gripping something substantial. The point on it is ridiculously thin. It's a 0.05. So technically half the thickness of that one up there, but it's way thinner than that. Mainly probably because that one was spreading a little bit. But either way, it's really nice. Zig cartoonist. It's really annoying how different brands do this. Hey MK, thought I'd lurk while I say hi. Hey, no worries. I can't stand how they do the numbering on these. 005 makes it seem like 5/1000ths of a millimeter, but it's totally not. It's like they add an extra zero for no reason that makes sense to me. It's really 0.05, so it's like 0.05, but they leave out the decimal, so it's almost like they intentionally mislead people, in my opinion. But this is a fairly industry standard thing for them to do. I think the other brands do the same thing, or some of them. This one is how it should be, 0.05. That's what you should see. 005 makes absolutely no sense. It's just misleading and confusing. But I think Sakura Pigment microns have the same numbering system. It's just as stupid. So I think it's kind of standard, but it's confusing. I posted a couple little clips of that photogrammetry stuff for someone else earlier, but the links are still valid for a couple days if you want to see them. Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't recognize your name. I couldn't remember. I forgot that you were the one that was talking about that. But thanks for reminding me. The other thing that's weird on Odyssey is I don't know. I probably just forgot. So that's just my bad brain. But you know how like you can have like your username and then you can have your channel name also. So it's like, I don't know, it's confusing. Throws me off. But in your case, it looks like they're the same. I just completely forgot. But yeah, thanks for that comment. Anyway, okay, so people are doing that with their iPhone now and free software. Nice. Yeah, I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android. I think you can do it with technically any camera these days. Like I was mentioning before, when I learned about it, like right when it was a new thing, I think it worked better with iPhones, but nowadays I think you know better than me because you actually use it, but I think you can just use any camera. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of out of that world right now. I have so many other hobbies that I'm not gonna rule it out as a thing I'll never do again, but it's just kind of faded out so much that I would have to kind of almost start from scratch. Every time I try to use like Blender, for example, it's like starting over because none of it like sinks in permanently into my memory. So I'm like, unless you're in it every day and all of that muscle memory and keystroke memorization stuff is like right there in your brain, it tends to fade out because there's so many keystrokes and interface elements that it's overwhelming. Which probably you wouldn't know unless you stopped doing it for like 5 years like I did and then try to go back into it. It's kind of all gone. It's kind of weird right now. I put my MK in the front of mine, so at least that part is clear. Yeah, Android definitely has some options too. I used to do that kind of thing with hacked Xbox Connects. Oh, cool. Nice. Scan quality was trash though, now it's way better. It's cool. Yeah, I wish all phones had that LiDAR thing. I don't actually know why. Well, I sort of do. I used to know. I kind of forgot. I don't know the total reason why, the primary reason why iPhones added LiDAR on their cameras. I think it's probably something to do with focusing, more efficient focusing or something. But generally when you're taking flat images, it's not 3D. And like for the average user, in other words, that has an iPhone, they won't know anything about LiDAR and why it's there. It's just there. They don't even know what it is. So I'm not sure why they added it to their phones. Like I can't remember what their primary use case is for it. I don't think it's for 3D scanning because the average person doesn't do any of that stuff. But they must have had a reason in mind why they developed it. I'm guessing it has something to do with the camera. Maybe it focuses better with that or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's for future-proof, like augmented reality stuff. I have no idea why they added that. But yeah, I wish all the phones had that, and then they started actually making cool stuff with it, because there's a lot of stuff you could use it for. You could use it for, like, I mean, if it's accurate, I don't know how accurate it is, but you could use it for measuring distances and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of real world purposes you could use it for. You could measure the size of something, or, you know, use it as a laser distance finder. Primary use case is probably Pokemon Go, probably. It's a game changer for games with that AR gimmick. Yeah, but I feel like that didn't really catch on that much. Like, Pokemon Go is the main one, and that's pretty dated. Like, that's pretty old. Like, I have a friend that still does that, but I mean, whenever I hear about it, I'm like, that feels like 20 years ago. I mean, I know it's not that old, but it's been a long time. But yeah, I guess that's probably kind of why they added it, is just to be able to do augmented reality type stuff. Who knows? But I mean, you can do that with an Android. Like, my friend that does Pokemon Go, he doesn't have an iPhone, so it doesn't need that. I mean, technically, with all that stuff, it's just analyzing the pixel data, so it looks at this and sees that J right there, and even though I'm moving this around, it's like remembering where that is, you know, in space. And you don't need LiDAR for that, it's just analyzing pixels. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway. If I could be wrong on this too, but it's possible that iPhone experimented with the LiDAR at one version, like say iPhone 10 or 11 or something, and maybe they've since dropped it. It's no longer a feature because they realized this is a waste of money, nobody cares. But I don't know. Give them another 5 years. They like to make everything 3D again every 10 to 20 years, like Locust. I know, the thing is though, it always fails. Like, I remember back in the 90s, seriously, the 90s, 1990s, they were talking about VR back then, virtual reality stuff. And they had the big helmets. I think they even had some of those walk-in rooms with helmets and stuff. And they're still trying that stuff, and like with the, I don't remember stuff, but you know, mostly it catches on in video games circles, but even those people, it's not mainstream. There's like a few ultra nerds that like to play with those gadgets, but like the rest of everybody doesn't care. So it's a complete financial failure because nobody wants to do it. Yeah. Remember 3D TVs? Yeah. And then there's the 3DS, like the Nintendo 3DS. Apple had their Apple Car project for a while too. They probably got them very interested in LiDAR. Yeah, and like, there's so many iterations of it, but almost all of them fail. Like the Microsoft HoloLens thing failed, as far as I'm aware. The stupid expensive iPhone or whatever, Apple Vision Pro or whatever the stupid thing is, that thing kind of failed. Facebook's, like, Zuckerberg was all like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna want to get on Facebook, what's it called, Meta, like the whole metaverse thing, that failed. Like, seriously, when are they gonna just give up? Anyway, that's funny. Okay, so I think I will stop that test with just those pins, unless I can think of any others. It is cool though, like the thing, like I could see, like if you're in, I understand, like, you know, you're doing game development or 3D stuff in general, 3D modeling, 3D rendering, and you just want like a model of this, for example. It would take a lot of effort to model all the nodes and everything, all the mesh and stuff. But if they were able to perfect, got a little bug on my eye there. If they were able to perfect the 3D scanning or photogrammetry or whatever, and you could just scan this and get a perfect model, especially if it was like riggable to great. Like eventually AI can probably do that, like can analyze the shapes and say, this is individual strand of hair, not just a big blobby mess. Which currently, as far as I know, it would just produce a complete mess trying to scan something like this. But yeah, eventually that would be very useful, save a lot of time creating 3D models. And I have seen the AI stuff. The AI stuff is actually, in my opinion, beyond the photogrammetry stuff or whatever. Because you can take a single picture like this, not even show the sides or back, and say, make a 3D model, and it'll do it. It gets crazy. That stuff is nuts. But anyway. Only one of those AR things I ever liked was a Google thing they only supported for a year or two before they axed it. It was cool though, called Google Project Tango. Later got sold off to Intel, and now they call it Intel Real. Since 3D enabled cameras. Nice. Yeah, I don't think I was aware of that one. But doesn't Google have a glasses now? Or at least they did a year or two ago. I don't know. They're always making something. Seems like only the very small select percentage of the public gives a rip, so it usually fails. Adobe's Mixamo is the AI-driven tools for rigging any humanoid model. You can provide it. It's free. It's a website-based tool you can use. That's cool. Yeah, I'm completely out of that world. I think I'm too old at this point. Not that I can't learn or something. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm too old to want to go back to that ancient history in my life. Because I did that like back in my 20s. It was a really long time ago. I dabbled with it quite a bit, but back then the stuff kind of sucked compared to what they have today. It's a lot harder. It's still not hard, but I mean, it's still not easy, but there's tools that kind of automate everything now. So anyway, I kind of just moved on, and I'm the kind of person that has too many hobbies as it is. So if I were to take on something like that again, it would just distract me from other things, and I would just have too many hobbies. So I've kind of purposely avoided that. It interests me. I watch videos on it occasionally just to sort of see what's happening in that realm, but as far as really pursuing it, I think it's kind of past that stage for me. Actually, I'm going to throw these in there too. I already tested these, but just for sake of comparison. Let's see. Copic. The crazy thing is, pretty soon, unless AI just dies, like it goes away, all the people that have the actual skills to make that stuff, there's not going to be much motivation to learn those skills anymore, and then that will become a antiquated past generation kind of skill that nobody has anymore. So once AI takes over, no one's going to know how to do the manual stuff anymore, because there's no motivation. If you can just click a button or write a prompt and get it, why would you spend weeks and months to, you know, create this 3D model when you can just like ask for it? And even the customization, like you might say, well, it might not be exactly what you want. What if you want something really specific? You can tell it that. Like you can, if it's not already, you can certainly do this with images, and 3D will be the same. You can just tweak it. You can say, oh, make the arm bigger, or, you know, move these mesh points this direction. You can just tell it to do that. You don't even have to like do it yourself. So, I don't know, it's just weird. Eventually, it seems almost kind of a dangerous direction to go, because eventually people will forget how to actually do anything. xhacker707, howdy. Wow, somebody found my stream on YouTube. I was just talking about that. Nobody ever finds live streams on YouTube. So you're proving me wrong. I think that's the first time I found it randomly on what's FYP. I don't know what that is. What's up, hey Blaze? Over on Beam. Wow, all of a sudden everybody's showing up. For those that are wondering, I'm just testing some pens. I might do some drawing today, but it might just kind of be a boring testing stream also, so nothing super interesting. It's already the case, man. That's the only reason I can get work as a 3D programmer, despite being self-taught with no college degree. I know how to do it the old-fashioned ways before the advanced tools, and those ways are still very useful on certain platforms like SoC and embedded chip. That's cool. It's cool that you have carved yourself a niche like that. If you're doing it in any kind of career, like it sounds like you are, that's awesome. That was always what I wanted to do when I was like a teenager back in, back in the ancient times. It's a dying art. That's sad. FYP means something in your YouTube page, but you see videos and stuff plus nice journal. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I actually make these. That's another thing I do on stream is book bindings. I'll just show some of my journals that I've made. I haven't done bookbinding on stream for a long time though. Well, a few months anyway. Such a mess on my desk. Now, these are actually some books that are partially made, half glued together, but then also there's some that I just finished not that long ago. I do the marble paper inside, and this is all kind of good paper for art stuff. Wow, that's not focusing for some reason. Focus. Woo. Okay. But yeah, there are no drawings, so these are not awesome drawings. Funniest fun, I got to try that little high school shop class. Nice. I wish I had that kind of experience in high school. That would have been awesome. My art experience in high school was kind of lame. Like, they didn't really teach us anything. We had art classes, but it was kind of just like, here's a project, here's like a medium to use, just go do your thing. They didn't really give hands-on directions. Am I good at drawings? How would you know? Have you been watching? I don't even think I've shown my drawings. And here's another. Yeah, I basically just use any kind of fabric. I can get fabric just from any fabric store, but I do make the marble paper and stuff. Here's another one. All right, see ya, MK. Thanks for dropping by. Here's another one. This is actually like upholstery fabric. It's like super thick, but it turned out pretty nice. Anyway, there's those. I'm gonna get back to this test though, so I can hopefully finish it and get on to something else more interesting. Although I might just do another test after this one. Let's see, did I got them all? Okay, I should have put more space in between these because I'm going to. Basically, the test I want to do is see how water resistant they are. And if they're too close together, they could sort of invade each other's space, but oh well, it's just the way it is. I need a paper towel, which I don't have one. I should have one, but I don't. I'm gonna go grab a paper towel. I'll be right back. Okay, so basically what I do, it's hard to keep this consistent, so this is not any kind of scientific test, it's more just for my own satisfaction. Basically, I just take a little bit of water and go across it a few times and just see if it kind of bleeds or if it stays in place. Pretty basic test, nothing, like I said, it's not scientific because I don't have a way to apply the same amount of water each time, so it's kind of different. All of these supposedly should be water resistant or waterproof or whatever, but you know how marketing is. Actually, so far, all of these are doing quite well, surprisingly. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with every single one of those. I think I did that one, yeah. Every single one did it really quite amazing, actually. I don't see hardly any smearing at all. That's impressive. Okay, so the next thing I want to maybe do is, I have a couple other things I want to test. Like, I think I might test some of these Japanese brush pens. I have 3 different styles, 2 different brands. I have another one somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I'll just go with the ones I have here. So some of these I don't even know what they are because it's all in Japanese. It looks like Chinese, but this one might be Chinese. I think they're actually Japanese, but they have kanji and stuff, so it's kind of hard to tell, but because this one, yeah, I actually don't know what these are. Oh, this one has Pentel something. Pentel Japan. These might actually be the same ink because they're both Pentel and they're both brush pens, but since they're completely different looking, I have no way to know. Like, unless you can read Japanese, which I can't. I don't really know the difference, but anyway, these are awesome because they have actual brush hairs, whatever you call them. Okay, so just this one is not very dark though. Actually, you're not that impressed with the ink color, I guess. I would kind of expect it to be like very black, but this one must not be very highly pigmented. I mean, that's a cool effect. Like if you're doing a painting, you don't necessarily want it to be black, but how I would use it, I would want it to be black, I think. Since I don't know what to call these, I'm just gonna have to call them both Pentel brush pens. Whoa, okay, that one leaks. Some of these, this one I've had for years, and I've maybe taken it on an airplane. If you've ever taken a pen on an airplane, there's a good chance that it's going to explode like that. Or in my case, I also live in a place with high altitude, which is kind of similar effect. I'm not sure this one, I might have to retire this pen. I've had it for like a really long time. This one's a lot darker. And this one might be Pentel too. I don't remember. I think it's just kind of a weird brand. It might not have a particular brand, or if it does, it's not spelled out in English characters. I'm gonna just write the number because I don't even know what it is. G F W50E This one has like a double-ended fine point on one, and then the brush. It's like the ink isn't really saturated into the bristles. That's what I was trying to think of, bristles. Okay. I don't think I will really use these for the brush pens that much. I don't even know if I'll ever use these really, unless I'm just doing some really rough impressionistic stuff. I'm not really into that kind of style too much. I like this fine nib though. But I have to give it a fair amount of time to dry also, because if you were to put water on that immediately after applying the ink, it would almost definitely smear, so I don't know how long to wait. But and then the other thing well, there's actually a bunch of things I could do, but I was going to maybe test these pens, because these are supposedly water resistant as well, and they have a bunch of colors, so I might check those out real quick. Or not so quick, I don't know. And then I also have these random brand, which you can't see because it's too big. Might test those. Actually have quite a few different things I can test. In fact, I wouldn't mind testing those. Just lay down. I have a huge pen collection, by the way. It's ridiculous. You wouldn't even believe me if it's... Well, I'm gonna show you, but... Looking for particular brands that I might test. I'm not going to test all of these. Just as a random example, Le Pen, Marvy Le Pen, these are not waterproof at all. They're completely water-based, dye-based, so there's no reason to even test those. But the ones that are supposedly waterproof or water-resistant, I want to try... I just want to get a good feeling for how well that claim holds up, because mainly because I actually use them in a context where that matters and stuff. I didn't realize they had that color, or I had forgotten. I'm uncovering some pens that I lost track of, I guess. Technically, I think these are also water resistant. Could try these. These are, yeah, anyway, I might try those too. Some of the Zebra brand pens are supposedly water resistant. Another one. So I guess I could try those just for fun. Just throw them in there. That's probably all I'm going to do this stream. I forgot how many different things I have to... I want to verify one way or the other. Kind of glad I'm going through these too, because there's a lot of ones that I thought were elsewhere. And anyway, I'm just finding a bunch of cool pens. And some not cool pens. Basically everything I'm throwing over here on the right, I don't really care about as much, because sort of when I started, I don't know how many years ago, but there was a certain time when I sort of discovered pigmented, water-resistant type stuff, archival, whatever, and once I went that direction, I kind of never looked back. I don't really like to use dye-based things, because they're not light fast, they're not water resistant, and they're not archival. Like, they just Anything you do is not permanent, it's temporary. It'll fade out, smear, everything if you don't look for those attributes. And I mean, it's not super likely that someone's going to dump a bunch of water on the things you do, but still, pigment stuff is just better for every possible reason. Almost done going through these, I think. Let's see, that one. Forgot that was there. These are really good pens. Pilot Juice Up, not juice, but the Juice Up. But they're not very water resistant. I already tested those recently. Okay, yeah, this is going to be a big testing stream because I have so many. I didn't think I was going to find this many pens worth testing. Crazy. Ridiculous. 3 piles here are kind of falling into each other. Okay, so everything over here I don't intend to do anything with today. I might have missed. I kind of tried to sort them in my brain as I was going, but I might have missed a few, but I got enough to do a worthwhile test. Oh wow. Oh yeah, okay, I don't want that. Same brand, but different style. I don't really like. By the way, the Uniballs that you can get at like Office Depot or other like American stores that don't have cool stuff, they're not the same at all. They're very different pens than the Japanese equivalents. Don't really like the American ones. Well, they're very frustrating. I could explain why, but there's probably not anybody here that cares. Okay, so I'm gonna start, okay, I guess I've given that long enough to dry. If I can find my brush pen now that I've covered my desk with stuff. I buried it in one of these piles. I have no idea where it went. I hope I didn't put it back in that reject kind of pile. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's test these real quick, see if they smear. It's pretty good. So far, everything's tested really well. That one smears a little bit. I'm not too surprised because the pigment is really thick on that one. It's still water resistant, it's just not... Oh, that one's terrible. That one's... I would say that one's not even water resistant, so that one... I did not know that. That's disappointing, because I do like that pen. But that kind of tells me something that's useful, so I'm glad I did that test. Now, that means to me that I probably won't use that pen much. I don't even know where it went. Oh, here it is. So that's this one. One that has like the fine tip on it and a brush pen. Apparently this one is not even at all water resistant. It's just probably like a dye-based, water-based pen. So that I probably will not carry that around with me anymore now that I know that. Okay, and then I usually give these a name. This one I probably won't carry around with me just because of the risk of it leaking all over everything. Let's call this one... So yeah, this one is it's actually a really good pen. It's a Pentel brush pen. I don't know what the model number is because it doesn't have it on there. Actually, it might. GFK. It's hard to read. Maybe you can read it on stream. Can't get it to focus. GFK something? BP? I don't know. GFKP, I think. That's what I'm getting out of that. GFKP. So if you look up that model number, it should bring it up. That one's pretty good, except that if you go in high altitude areas, like on an airplane, or I live in a high altitude area, like if you live in Denver, for example, it might just bleed on you, explode. But once it's happened, like once it's adjusted its air pressure, it should be okay. But it's a really good pen. I used to like them a lot. This is the one that sucked. And it doesn't even have a brand name that I can read because it's in Japanese or Chinese or something. But the model number is GFW50E, and then under that it has... I can't even read that first character anyway. You can see that on the stream. This one is not waterproof at all. That's the one that's smeared there. This one is another Pentel, different model. Looks like I can't read that, but it has an embossed number on there that I can't quite make out. FPH? I don't know. That one's really weak pigmentation, so it's not very dark. But it did not smear at all, so that's good. It actually did well on the test as far as smearing goes. Oh yeah, FRH-MN is probably the model number. Anyway, it's not bad. It's just not very dark. But it did not bleed or feather, so that I think it passes the test. Okay, so I give every illustration in my journal a number, which this pen is too thick for this purpose. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna give it a name, so I'm gonna call this one Pigment Fineliners Test. And then, even though it's not a drawing, I still sign and date it just as a pattern, whatever. Yeah, elevation destroys pens, especially, I mean, it can happen really to anything, but most often, my experience has happened to anything with a felt tip on it, which might be more than you realize. They seem to just bleed for some reason, but also these brush pens. The brush pens just make sense though, because the ink is literally just coming out into these bristles, so there's no surprise really that happens with those. Recently I tried dry erase markers on sheet white vinyl. I thought it would work like dry erase board. Nope, it's amazing how super permanent those dry erase markers are on white vinyl. Wow. Scrubbed it with Comet and Brillo pad, nothing. That's insane. That's funny. Only rubbing alcohol would reliquify it. Yeah, rubbing alcohol seems to be the almost universal solvent for various inks and stuff. Okay, so this one we're gonna call 1, 2, 4. We'll call this Asian, since I don't know if they're all Japanese. I would say Japanese, but Asian brush pens test. It's getting very close to switching over to midnight the next day, so I should pay attention to that so I can put the proper date on that. Okay, so this is going to be a ridiculous huge test. I'll try to, even though these are all the same brand, I'm going to separate them out by series to make it more manageable. And also there's a slight chance that the ink is different across different series, but I think they're all the same. It looks like I have 2 sets of these, so I'll just do 1 of each color. I have a 5-piece set. Somewhere else I have the other blue. Not too concerned about that right now. This is historically one of my favorite brands. This whole stack right here is the same brand and possibly the same ink, just different form factors of pens, but it's the Mitsubishi Uni or Uniball, but it's the Japanese variation. If you get these in, or the Uniballs in the United States, for example, are completely different. There's basically no connection at all. I don't even think it's the same company. I mean, it kind of is, but I think they have different ownership and different principles, and it's not the same. So if you want these kind, you have to buy them in either a Japanese stationery store, or there's a few art stores that might have them, or you can go to jetpens.com. That's the easiest place to get most of these pens. Who do you like for paint pens? Like if I'm painting blank baseball caps, I do that sometimes, mostly with Sharpie paint pens and Sharpie fine tip markers for now. I don't have a ton of experience with those, honestly. I've bought some really crappy no-name brand ones from Amazon, and they're fine for me. I have used I've used the Sharpie ones, and I have a few others. Let me go grab my paint pen type bin. I don't know. I don't have a lot, but I have a few. It's not something that I've spent a lot of time with, though, so I'm not necessarily the expert on it. To be honest, though, as long as it's an acrylic-based pen, it's going to be fine, I think. And even technically, the regular permanent sharpening markers will get you by, but I don't know if they'll be, like, as far as doing on clothing, I have no experience doing that, and you'd have a different set of concerns than I would, because you would kind of want something that would be laundry proof, sweat proof, etc. And I know nothing about that. So. Most of these are just permanent alcohol markers. I have a few Copics that have Sharpies. I have touch markers. I don't really use these a lot, except for special projects, but I also have like a few, like these are the paint pens that I have. They're like they're nothing special, like they were cheap Amazon made in China whatever stuff, which honestly everything's made in China anyway these days, so what difference does it make? But currently, like, I might have another box somewhere, but currently these are the main ones that I have. I just got like a big set of them, and I've never tried using them on like fabric or anything. So I have no idea how they would do for that, honestly. But you can see that there's quite a few colors, and it was very cheap, so. But I can't necessarily recommend them, but these are the ones I have, and I have some others somewhere. I don't remember where, but these are You can see a completely random Chinese brand. So I don't necessarily recommend buying these. If you're interested in getting some cheap thing to try, just search Amazon like anybody else. I don't have any special recommendations. These are NYU top, new top. Nothing special. I think you're probably already doing better than I am, just because usually the name brands have somewhat of a reputation to keep up, and they're probably a little bit better than these ones, if not a lot better. I don't know, but unfortunately I don't have a ton of experience with those. I actually had some can't remember the brand. I used to have some really good ones, expensive ones, and I can't remember the brand. They're like the same brand as like one of the spray paint brands, like that oh, what do you call them? Graffiti artists use. I think like Molotov, I think maybe? Molotov markers. Yeah, I think I had some Molotov markers, which were acrylic based, I believe. Those were pretty good. But I don't know, honestly. I don't even know if those are available anymore. It's been quite a few years since I've had those. Okay, so this is Uniball 1. I'm going to start with the box. That's how I was doing it. Previous tests. I think that's all. Ball 1, 0.5. I haven't even used this one yet. For those that wonder why I'm even doing this, it's because I've gotten into watercolor pencil sketching, and I mix the watercolor pencils with ink, and I'm interested in finding the inks that have the best water resistance, because then they won't blur and get all messed up when I combine them with water media. That's the primary reason I'm doing these tests. But also, I've always liked doing this kind of stuff. I'm not expecting these to do absolutely great. I think they will resist the water a little bit, but I don't think they'll be like unscathed. It'll show some bleeding, I think, spreading, whatever. Alright, so I have to let those sit for long enough to give them a fair chance to before I get them wet. Sounds fun. I used to use oil pastels, stuff kind of like that, but with thinner and no marker, but that sounds fun. Oh man, I wish I could show, I could just like break out of what I'm doing and show what it's all about, but these are not actually what's inside. I'm just using this tin. I pulled out the Prismacolors out of this. These are actually Derwent Inktense pencils, which is my brand of choice. It's like really awesome. I'll just do a very quick demo. I'll just fill this space. So you can use them like regular pencils like this, and create all sorts of gradients and blends between them. I highly recommend these Derwent Inktense pencils. They're kind of expensive, but I don't know if you live in the States, the United States, but you can get them from dickblick.com. They have the cheapest price. And you can just like get a few colors to try them out, and then if you like them, you can buy more. I like them a lot. I highly recommend them. They're pretty amazing. Okay, so there we go. That's all it takes, just a little bit. You don't even need to get very dark because they get a lot darker when you get them wet. See that in just a minute. I can find my water brush. The way I like to do it is put a little bit of water on the water brush and mostly get it off so it's just barely damp. You can see like how much control you have. It's like way less chaotic than trying to use watercolors because you determine where the ink is going to be, where the pigment's going to be by putting it down first. So you have pretty full control over where, how it's going to spread. The only thing that you have to get used to is how fast it dries. And once this stuff is dry, this particular brand, it becomes permanent, which I'm all about permanent everything. So you can see that the red didn't really blend with the green here very well because it had already kind of dried. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. So once this is dried and you put water on it again, it won't reactivate it like normal watercolor, which some people might not like that, but I actually like it. The other way you can use these is to pull the color right off the tip of the pencil. If you want like really concentrated colors, you can just go like this. Use it kind of like a watercolor cake set. Of course, I'm not drawing anything interesting here. I'm just, showing you how to use them, basically. Anyway, get the idea. Cool thing, this is the least messy thing. Look at this. There's no color on that, even though I just did all that stuff. There's nothing on this at all. So it's like the cleanest painting medium you can possibly imagine. It's kind of insane, actually. I don't understand. I've had a paper towel that I carry around with me for weeks and do multiple drawings with, and you look at it and it looks almost totally white. It's like there's like nothing there. Almost magical. Anyway, I wasn't really planning on drawing. I just did a quick kind of demo, I guess. All right, so I'm going to test these, see how these unit balls do. Again, I'm expecting them to blur it a little bit. They are pretty good. Like, they might actually surprise me and not do much of anything. That one is blending out a little bit. I think each color can have different performance too, like some of the ones that I tested last couple weeks ago or a week ago. Like all of them did really well. Like the Sharpie pens, this is different than Sharpie markers, mind you. Sharpie pens are pigment based, they don't soak through the page like Sharpie markers do. They're archival, fade resistant, etc. Those did really well except like a few of the colors. Yeah, that's wild. I was sure you'd have to rinse that brush a million times. I do anytime I'm working in watercolors, but it's clean. Yeah, it's completely clean. It's insane. I don't even understand it. It's like a self-cleaning brush. Like, I know there's some color in there, but I've been using this for many, many, many paintings, and it's relatively still white. It's just crazy. That water brush marker you have looks really handy. I'm definitely getting one. Don't know why I don't have one already. I think, in my opinion, these are the best brushes of all. You can spend hundreds of dollars on a brush, or you can get one of these for 50 cents, and these are better than the $500 brush in my personal opinion. Everybody has a different opinion, but look at how fine that point is. Like, you can get ridiculous detail with these if you want. I think they're fantastic. It doesn't matter the brand. This one is Pentel, but you can get any brand. They're all basically the same. And you can also fill these with water. You can put water in here aqua reservoir. I never do that. I prefer to control it by dipping it, and I like to wipe it off on a paper towel so it's not too much. If you control the dampness, like for example, you get most of the water off so it's just barely damp, it's still going to spread the ink around just as well, but it's not going to warp your paper at all. So you saw how much I got the water off, but it still works, see? There's like almost no water on there, and it still spreads it perfectly well, so I prefer to do it that way. And then your paper, this is watercolor paper, but you could even use pretty cheap not watercolor paper. If you do that barely damp technique, it doesn't warp the paper hardly at all. Okay, so there's that test there. That is 125. This is kind of cheating, but I like to have like one drawing per page in my journal, and ideally one drawing per day. So when I do like a bunch of these, even though these aren't really drawings, I still give them a number and count it like as a drawing. So I'm kind of catching up on the missed days. Sometimes I take stretch canvas, dust it with graphite, and rub the graphite in until it's an even dark tone. Then I'll draw with an eraser to reveal the primed white and go back and dark. That's awesome. I love that style. I did a bit of that in my college era, like in my 20s, and I came, like, especially a kneaded eraser, because you can just like make these really cool textures and stuff. But yeah, I've done a fair bit of that as well. Although I did not do exactly what you're saying as far as darkening the entire thing and then starting with like black basically. That would be pretty fun. It's helped me keep the highlights structured for composition so the page background doesn't compete so hard for attention. But that method would work great with those watercolor pencils. I haven't tried liquefying those yet. Yeah, I mean, you could use it as the base color for sure, but the thing is you can't really erase them, so you'd have to use like probably opaque, like white pastels or something like that, or white acrylic paint if you wanted to, or you know, any colors, but generally, yeah, it would be harder to, I guess it's the same principle. Yeah, I guess that would work. Conte crayons, or you know, other white opaque stuff. Oh shoot, I meant to say water test on all of these. Is it buffering? No, let me check. I don't know. I can see it on Beam right now. But yeah, it may come and go on various platforms. I'm multi-streaming on many platforms, but when I look at my Beam right now, it looks good. But, you know, could have died for a second. Building up the highlights just looks better anyways. When I would do oil painting, I was taught to build up highlights a lot and then go back and build them up more and repeat that very often as you go. Yeah, I'm not a classically trained artist. I took a few classes, but the classes I took were terrible. They didn't teach you anything. Basically, they were like art study halls where they just give you something to draw and just they would like sit back in a corner while everyone drew, and they wouldn't even like walk around that much and tell you what to do. They just said, draw stuff, and then you draw it, and it might suck, but... so my erase away to the highlight was always kind of hacky. Nice. Streams, Final Odyssey. Yeah, I was terrible at painting. Like I did a few oil paintings, a few acrylic paintings. I very shortly tried with watercolor, and it freaked me out. I couldn't do it at all. Ironically, I'm loving these things, and it's very similar to watercolor, but it's a completely different experience. I was horrified by watercolors generally, but these ones are very different. Okay, so I'm going to do these thicker ones in a separate batch, and then the rest I'll have to do on the new page because there's so many different colors. These are the same brands. These are Uni or Uniball Mitsubishi. The model number is UM-15X. This one's 153. This one's worn off, so I don't know, but these are just like the thicker 1mm version of these. Basically, it's the same ink, though. Anyway, I found ink washes helped my painting skills the most of anything. Nice. Yeah, I love ink. Ink is kind of my thing. But I'm not good at anything necessarily. I just like dabble. So I don't pretend that I like know what I'm talking about necessarily as a subject matter expert. Okay, this one might be kind of drying out. Some of these pens I've had for like probably 10 or 15 years. This one's kind of maybe giving up the ghost. This one is a metallic, though. It should be like a gold one, but it looks like it's kind of drying out, so I'm gonna set that one aside. Super economical way to make images too, and once you get a feel for it, the mindset really applies well to painting too. Yeah, I like the idea of acrylic paint because it kind of has some of the benefits to painting like oils, but you don't have all the messy chemical cleanup. It doesn't stink, and you can just use water to thin it out, kind of like watercolor. I don't know, but at the same time it's really intimidating because it dries incredibly fast unless you use some kind of extender, and I don't have much experience with it. So I've done a couple successful acrylic paintings, but nothing that most people would be overly impressed by. Okay, UM-153. Oh, I forgot the Signo. That's kind of the brand of these. This test will be a very incomplete one. I also have a green one of these somewhere, the thick ones, but I don't know where it is right now. So we'll just do these two. This is, I don't know if it shows up, but it's actually a metallic silver. And this one's probably going to die as well. So that was kind of a crappy test. That's all I have at the moment for those. Toxicity of oil paints is crazy. You gotta be so super careful. Yeah, it's just gross too. Like, it gives me this grimy, gross feeling when I use them. And you have to have a special shop setup. You have to use like turpentine or terpenoid or whatever, paint thinner, all that nasty stuff. I can't stand it. Okay, that was a terrible test because basically none of the pens work. So let's just move on to the next one. This one's going to take like 6 hours. I have so many. I don't need to test all of them, but I'm going to anyway. Let's see. I don't need to do the squiggly lines. That's kind of a waste of time. I'll just do the box and the writing. It's good enough. Next time you're on a lava rock, if you see an outcrop that looks particularly cool, you can try shooting a steady clip of you walking around it in a circle, trying to avoid any shadows landing on it that move as you do. Then get that to me and I'll do the third 3D thing. Try it anyway. Yeah, sure. If I remember, I'll try to do that, yeah. Of course, I can't control really the shadow unless I'm standing like kind of far away. But I could try. Okay. I do all of the same series together just for consistency. I think these are all the same. Like, I think they're all the same ink, but they're just keep the groups together so that it's kind of a fair comparison, I guess. These are all that same series. They have like a ton of colors too. This is just a small sampling. They have a lot of other colors available. These, in my opinion, are the best colored pens, just basically for writing and even really drawing, I guess, although I'm not sure I've used these for drawing so much, but I guess if they prove themselves to be fairly water resistant, I could use them in combination with some of these ink drawing things. For sure, and that's kind of why I'm testing these. If these actually test better than some of the pens I'm already using, I might just switch to these, and it wouldn't surprise me if they do just as well or better than some of the other pigment fineliners that I've been testing. The other thing is, like, they don't even need to be water resistant technically, because you can just go over the top of something, and then as long as you're not intending to add any further water layers later, they don't even need to be water resistant. But the thing that's nice is if they are water resistant and you want to add more layers of water medium, then you can, you know, kind of go back and forth. Colored ink pens would probably be awesome for stippling, Surratt, and amazing at that if you're looking for reference material. Yeah, I don't do a lot of studies of other artists. Like, I know that's very common, but I kind of just have my own style that it may look like it's influenced by a certain artist, but it's kind of just my own, pretty much doodling. I just call it doodling. It's nothing, literally nothing like overly artistic about it. Thanks for the follow. I won't even try to say that name. That's the most complicated name I've ever seen. Appreciate the follow. I just do like hatching. I guess some of this is stippling too. I just like to get, you know, different values by scribbling, basically. But yeah, these would totally work in conjunction with the Derwent Inktense pencils or any kind of watercolor pencil. The cool thing about the Inktense pencils and other watercolor pencils is they don't really change the surface of the paper that much. Like acrylic paint, it's plastic, so you can't like use these kind of pens on top of it. It just won't work. It will probably destroy the pens, in fact. But with the ink stuff, it really is just soaking into the paper fiber, so it's not really changing the characteristics of the paper much, if at all. So anything that you previously could do, like use pencils, pens, whatever, you can still do after the ink wash is applied. So that's one thing that I really like about it. It doesn't really change the scenario that much. I kind of like not being that good at art too. I mean, I'm not like the worst ever, but I'm not like super great. So I'm hoping that it could encourage others to give it a try, because you don't have to be amazing at something to try it and enjoy it. Sometimes I see things in these shapes, like normally what I often do is just start with a doodle and then I find something in it to draw, whether it's surreal or imagined, whatever. Not really seeing anything in this shape because I was just testing out the swatches of color, but sometimes I'll find something in there that's interesting and make like a little weird drawing out of it. This one is more just like a study of the medium, not really turning out to look like anything that I can identify. Usually I see like characters, like people or animals or weird creatures in these shapes, but this one, it doesn't really look like anything. There are a lot of different motivations to do some art. It doesn't have to be a contest. I got a lot out of the learning experience. The end result is like a byproduct. Yeah, totally. I like this gray though. Like, this black is sometimes a little bit too harsh. Like you can't get like subtle gradations. But the colors, like obviously with this pink, I could blend in with this existing pink here. Sometimes you gotta know when to stop too. Like subtlety is often more interesting than something that's been way overworked to death. Anyway, there's a lot of cool effects that you can get with these. The reason I like combining the pens and the ink washes is because if you really don't feel confident with the washes, like to do like subtle variations of tone and value and stuff, you can just do solid colors with the washes. It's very easy. Anybody can do that. It's like paint by number. And then later you can come in with pens and start adding like different shading to it. So it's, in my opinion, it's much more approachable and easier than doing all the painting with the ink. Gives you a little bit more flexibility and variation, whatever. Ever see those old phrenology head bump diagrams for them to figure out who to lobotomize? That's kind of what I see in your doodle. Nice. Kind of morbid, but yeah, I usually see something. This one, because I had no intentionality, or I mean, I don't usually have intentionality, it's not the right word, but when I doodle something to start to give me inspiration, usually it has a little bit more shape to it, not like this weird blob. It's kind of hard to see anything in this blob. I'm still enjoying like filling it in with shading, even though it doesn't look like anything, but it could be something. Like, just as an example, what if you magnified a flower and saw a tiny petal or a piece inside there? It might look something like this. So, I mean, even though this is very abstract and has no real world equivalent necessarily, it's still a good exercise. Alright, where was I with this though? I kind of messed up myself because I wanted to make sure to continue with those colors. Let's see. We did orange, which is that one. Baby pink. That one, and then we did gray. Okay, so let's continue with this. This bump means you are an unruly housewife and should be locked up in an asylum for life. That's crazy. I don't know much about that stuff, but kind of like the witch hunting or something where they say you have a wart, so gotta burn you at the stake or something. Sounds kind of like that. Very superstitious time in human history, I suppose. I can assume these are all 0.38, but they might think there's some 0.28s also. I love how fine they are, and I think they are pretty water resistant. Like I said, even if they're not, as long as you do it as your last layer on your ink drawing, it doesn't even matter. I do know that they are generally water resistant and fade resistant, so I think they're about, in my personal opinion, and I don't think it's that biased, these are the best fine point pens available, period. Phrenology was a precursor to modern psychology. It was their attempt to explain people's dysfunction. Might as well have been reading tea leaves, yeah. I'm not familiar with it. This one looks a little thicker. This might be a 0.5. Ooh, look at that color. That's beautiful. Yeah, this is a 0.5. I actually like the thicker ones for writing. I find that like really thin lines, they don't show up as well visually to read, but also they can be slightly more scratchy, although in this particular brand, it doesn't seem to be a major issue. To be honest, I don't have much more faith in modern psychology than ancient phrenology. They're both facts, in my opinion. I kind of am on the fringe of that regard. I won't get into that too much because I don't want to downplay any reality that I'm just uneducated about, but I'm also pretty skeptical on that stuff, to be honest. Hey Leo, thanks for the lemon. Good to see you. Okay, this is a 0.5, and we got, this is called green. I love these pens. I'm kind of enjoying using them again in a while. I'm probably going to end up putting these in my daily carry pouch because I think they're going to test well enough, and the fact that I have this many colors gives me a lot of variety in the shading I can do on my ink drawings. So these will probably be my go-to pen after this test. That's a weird name for this color. They're calling it blue-green. I would call it aqua, perhaps. It's very light. Okay, what do we got here? I actually like these subtle lighter colors because sometimes when you want to add a little bit of subtle shading, you don't want a super dark color. So even though you can base out marks, like make a darker color, you just do solid ink, and then if you want lighter colors, you can have less lines, etc. But even though that's true, if you're starting out with a super dark color to begin with, it's kind of hard to make subtle gradients. Need to get that in the frame to move all this stuff. Oops, I started writing what was above there. This one is apple green. Doing the Bart Simpson thing, just copying what I wrote before on the chalkboard. Okay, is that... Okay, there's some more. I had them in my hand and then I started doing the drawing, which kind of threw me off. I think that's all of this series. And once again, I don't have every color by any means. There's quite a few colors. I don't remember how many. If you're interested in any of these pens, almost all of them are available on jetpens.com. But I have to warn you, if you go there, you might spend a lot of money because it's a very amazing site. For people that are addicted to pens, it can be a little bit dangerous. Just another 0.5, I can tell. I love the 0.5s. I think, like for drawing, the 0.38s and the 0.28s are better, but for writing, I actually really like how smooth the 0.5s are. Pure pink. Keep in mind that some of these pens are pretty old, so if they even work at all, it's kind of amazing. I've had them just sitting around. I've used them a lot also, but some of them have just sat in a box for quite a long time. This one's missing the label, so I don't know what color this is, unfortunately. I'm guessing this is just red. I'm not sure though. Okay, so there's those. My back is starting to hurt from kind of bending over. I was sitting at a desk posture. I've done a lot of it these days. And, yeah, it hurts. Okay, these are the oldest pens that I have, probably, at least in this series for sure. These are ancient. If some of them don't work, I would not be surprised, and it would be not the fault of the pens. These are just crazy old. I think it's Uniball Signo RT1, if I remember right, the model name. Yeah, RT1. It's basically the same though. I think it's the same ink as that other one above, but this is like an older variation of it. I guess the main difference is that these are click pens. And they look cool. Also has a model number of UMN155. They don't have named colors, so... Oh yeah, they do. But I don't know what they are, so I'm not gonna... This one has a label, but not all of them do. I guess I can put the name on the ones that I do know. This one looks like it's failing. Actually, this one might even be used up. It looks like the ink is maybe all dried up. Yep, looks like nothing left. So I'll probably scrap that one. It's good to get rid of pens when they no longer work instead of keeping them in your collection. Unless they have, you could technically sometimes refill these. If you really like the form factor of the pen, you can possibly get a refill, but the pens themselves typically aren't very expensive, and the refills might cost just as much as a new pen, so not very motivating. Oh, I should get rid of that though. Tempting to keep it. Like I'm a utilitarian, so sometimes I find purposes for these little things, but I'll probably just throw it away. I'm actually surprised that this works as well as it does for how old it is. It's possible these are almost like 20 years old. I've had these for a crazy long time. They've got to be at least 15 years old. Really like this green thing that I added. We gotta figure out a way to make it work. Apparently all of that huge weird thing is this guy's forehead. Kind of a robot cyborg thing. I call this Ask Jeeves. I think that was the name of an old website. This is what became of Ask Jeeves. After all these years, it kind of gained consciousness and is just waiting behind the scenes to make its move. Okay, add a little bit more color in there. Random time has not been kind to Jeeves. I don't know. This looks like he's got a pretty big noggin. He's got a big brain. It's like full of information. Hopefully he's like kind. Because I mean, he could really use that knowledge for evil purposes. He just wanders the back alleys now, telling strangers to ask him things, anything, but he never has an answer. It's unrelated. Yeah. Wouldn't it be funny if they resurrected some of those old websites like excite.com, webcrawler.com, Yahoo? But they're like suddenly the best available options. I actually don't really like Google, to be honest. I don't think its search results are good at all. I never find what I want. It's back there with Dogpile to make a comeback someday. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Seems like now is the age of comebacks. Like, they keep remaking everything, so why not do that with websites, right? All right. Never underestimate the power of nostalgia in Clown World. Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for it too. Like Transformers, G.I. Joe, you know, He-Man, all that stuff. Like even if it sucks, like the remakes, they're Scooby-Doo. You know, I'm a sucker for it just because it reminds me of the good old days. I'm massively into retro video games, for example. Like I pretty much only play 8-bit and 16-bit stuff. Just because it kind of brings me back to those better times. When the world was less complicated and more innocent. Just, I like that era. Okay, so we're gonna call this Ask Jeeves. Let's gonna give it a number. Let's see, that one's 126. We'll call this 127. Is it? I can't remember how to spell that. Is it J? Is it, I want to say it's G, like G-E-E-V-E-S, but let me... Gotta make sure I get that right. Where's my keyboard? Oh, it is a J. Okay, J-E-E-V-E-S. Okay. Wow, ask.com is still around. Surprising. Awesome man on the side. I have an NES game I'm coding. I want to release a hardware cartridge. Sick. That's awesome, man. It's kind of like Zelda, but with more nunchucks and throwing stars. Sick. Sounds super cool. So you're actually going to code it like in assembly or something? Or are there like modern tools that make it easier? I'll call it Ask Jeeves 2025. Alright. Okay, so these are dry. I can test these inks now. Wait a minute. Before I get distracted again, let's finish everything that I started. I apparently didn't do these two colors yet, so I'll do that. I can code it in most C, and the assembler part is already done in minimal anyways. Nice. So you must be a pretty talented programmer. I'm also a former web developer, so I know some stuff, but I got massively burnt out from that about 10 years ago, and I haven't really done it since then, and I don't want to. If I do coding stuff now, I just ask AI to do it for me. I know that's kind of possibly shameful depending on your cultural stance, but since I hate coding now, I don't feel bad about it because it's my only way to stay attached to that capability, because I have no interest in learning all the latest languages and stuff, so I still do that stuff, but I do it pretty much through AI almost exclusively. I can look at the code and kind of understand what's going on sometimes and make little changes, but I generally don't write code anymore. And yeah, there's little templates you can get that are like the Hello World of Nintendo games, so I started with them, and that was nice. That would be fun. Alright, so I have to give that more time to dry. This one should be dry, and this one's definitely dry, so let's see how water resistant they are. All the music that you hear on the stream is from Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. Okay, that one moves a little bit. It's not terrible, but I'm not surprised these metallic ones would move. That's not bad. For as thick of a line and as much pigment there is in that one, that's really not bad. So yeah, I would give these a pretty good score. Definitely a good enough score that I think I'm going to make these my daily drivers for using in this kind of stuff. That's a pretty detailed drawing compared to some of the ones I've been doing lately with fineliners. Like I've been using the Sharpie pens, which are not the same as the Sharpie markers, but they are pretty good, but they're not nearly as fine tipped as these. See how different colors react differently? That pink near the top is not performing as well as some of these other colors. It's often the case when you have a set of many different colors, because they're literally different chemicals. Like every pigment is a different chemical. But most of these are doing pretty good. Here's a GitHub project for that basic NES game template I mentioned. If it lets you paste links, then go ahead. It doesn't look like it's coming through on my chat program now, so I'll have to look at it later on Odyssey. Yeah, my dream, I have like 3 friends from high school, and our dream was always to make a video game back then. Back before everybody was doing it, like the whole indie movement. But it never happened, and it's kind of at the point now where it's just, I don't think I want to try to make it happen, because I'd have to recreate so much knowledge that I had back then that I don't really have anymore. Yeah, I could definitely do most of it for you, though. I use AI a little for refactoring or silly little functions I don't feel like writing for the 15th time. Yeah. Closest thing I ever did, I used one of those game makers, like, I don't remember the name of it. It's like 001 or something, but similar to RPG Maker, I actually made a little game in that. And then way back when I first did programming, I actually made a couple basic games in QBasic or DOS, but that's as far as I dabbled with all those disciplines that we've talked about, like the 3D stuff, graphic design and sound design and all that stuff, but never to the point of actually making a complete video game. I did paste the link, but it's not showing. Maybe if you look in Odyssey window, I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to check it out later. You could just search for Create NES Game in GitHub. It should come up nice. Yeah, I mean, I find that stuff interesting, but I'm out of that realm too much to actually, like, want to pursue it in my own hobbies. I just like watching other people that succeed and enjoying it through them. Mostly it just ends up being watching YouTube videos on new console games that come out or indie games, or I like watching those guys that review the mobile retro handheld type things, all those different various models that, you know, the Ambernick and, you know, all those brands and stuff. It's cool what they're making. So for some reason, it may just be coincidence because of the colors that these ones are doing a lot better than those, even though they're the same brand. But I think it's just because the pinks in particular are spreading and the green a little bit. I don't think it's necessarily different ink. I love Quick Basic and its lesser known but thoroughly overpowered alternative Power Basic. Yeah, I was aware of that, but I never used Power Basic. Power Basic was nuts, didn't find that till years later, but it was awesome. Like Quick Basic but fast and with inline assembler. Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah, I mostly did like screensaver type stuff where you just draw lines and circles and shapes and stuff. But I made some like little basic programs. Yeah, I was really that good. Some of my friends, though, that were better programmers made some pretty cool stuff. Okay. Alright, those are done. Gives me some good information to go off of. I'm happy enough with these, though. As long as I use them as my last layer, I think they'll do great. So I'm probably going to use these a lot. This is 126. I'm going to switch those. Uniball signal, UM153 water test. By the way, didn't you say you had to go and then all of a sudden you came back and never went away? I'm not complaining, I was just remembered like, oh, I thought you left, and you never did. Ever try spray matte for fixing inks down? Yeah, I mean, not spray matte, but like fixative and hairspray and like, let's see it. Fixative, hairspray, and I can't think of the other name. Like the more serious stuff, like it's like glossy and stuff. Anyway, yes, I have, but I don't like that stuff at all. Very caustic and disgusting, and it's sticky. You get it hot, they can stick together and seal your pages shut forever, and they rip apart. I don't know. I don't like that stuff at all. If I do like charcoal drawings or pencil drawings, then I obviously use that so it doesn't smear. But none of this stuff, none of these mediums require anything because they are quite adequately water resistant and smear proof. None of this is ever going to change unless you just like douse your paper in water. Even then it's pretty decent. So that's kind of why I'm into these mediums, because of that factor. I don't have to do any special treatment of it, which I really enjoy. I had to go to the store. I wasn't sure if I'd survive. I lived. Nice. I can't remember the name of that other thing though. It's like another. I mean, there's a bunch of names for those things, but there's like one that's. Yeah, I can't think of it. It's like the, you know, like the 3M Super 77, you know, those kind of serious stuff. I don't know. Some of those are spray adhesives, and some of them are like the stuff that fixes, covers things. But yeah, the other thing I don't like about some of those is if they're not archival, potentially you're actually causing your drawings to age prematurely. Like if it ages the paper and makes it not acid-free, for example, then it's potentially going to wear your paper away and make it all yellow and nasty. I think these days most everything that's intended for art is acid-free, but back like when I was younger, that whole acid-free movement was just starting. So you kind of had to be more careful on what products you used. Okay, so 127. I'm gonna get lots of drawings in today. They're not really drawings, but still satisfying. As an example, like some of my early drawings, I draw a lot on 3x5 cards, about on purpose. I like small detailed drawings. I mean, that's why I like these smaller things, and fine points and stuff. And I always use mechanical pencils like 0.3 lead, whatever. Some of those I actually laminated, and while it does preserve them and they don't smear, so in that case it's good, I think that plastic, the lamination pouch or plastic things, are not necessarily like gonna age well, so eventually they'll probably like discolor and be all yellow and brittle and stuff. I mean, yeah, so it kind of sucks. It's kind of like catch-22. You want to keep stuff from smearing, but then you don't want to make it like degrade. So what I like to do is just like get a really high quality, high resolution scan of my drawings. So I scan all this in, 1200 DPI or whatever, just so I have a copy of it like before it like was affected by age and time and stuff. Not that it matters, like I'm not going to be anybody important, so it's more just, I guess it's kind of an OCD thing, but I've always been that way. I just want to preserve everything. That's why I use archival, fade proof, or fade resistant, water resistant. I just kind of have a preference of those kind of things. Even though none of the stuff that I make matters and I won't be remembered in history. So I don't know why I have that preference. It's just more of a, I feel like if you have a choice, like why not choose the better option, right? Unless it's too expensive or something. Like, check this out. Like, here is a Marvy Le Pen. Water dye based. If you leave this out in the sun for a week, it'll disappear. And it'll also, actually, you know what? I'm surprised. That isn't smearing much. That is actually kind of blowing my mind right now. Normally, they do actually have a pigment version, but I don't think this is it. So I don't know why that's not smearing, to be honest. Let's see if I can find an actual example. That's weird. I don't know why that's not. There's a black one. Wow, that's old. That is like corroded. It's so old and crusty. Generally speaking, though, these are not very waterproof. I think it's possible that they're soaking into the paper, and that's giving them some sort of water resistance. I don't know. I'm actually kind of shocked right now. I've always thought that Marvy Le Pens were just dye based, but even if that's showing some resistance to water, I don't think they're light fast. I don't think it's pigment. I think it's dye, which if you leave that out in the sun, it will disappear like in a week, which I find personally disconcerting. I like all my stuff to at least last a little while. Funny thing is, I don't have any garbage pens, really. Oh, actually, you know what? this whole big set that I was possibly going to test today, I think these are all dye-based, kind of cheapo pens. I bought these like on Amazon or something, and I bought them because they have a million colors. But these are about as cheap of pens as you can get. You can see how many crazy colors they have, which is awesome. But I'm pretty sure these are dye-based. I might actually test those out on the next page, because I did kind of want to confirm one way or the other. Because if they're not that bad, I would consider using them. But I'm pretty sure they're about the cheapest made in China stuff you can possibly find. Okay, let's see. Oh, I guess I should have switched to 0608. We'll just do that from now on, because it's technically Sunday now. Okay, next. I don't know if there's much point to keep testing this brand. I think I've already kind of confirmed where it's at, so I'm going to skip those because they're basically the same thing. But the next brand that is super awesome, if you're not really caring about art and you just want a good writing pen for journaling, I would say these are potentially the second best or even the best. In some ways they're better than the Uniboss Sigma, but in other ways they're not. They're a much thicker nib, more point, and there's also quite a selection of colors. I don't have the full set, but I have a decent amount. But because they're thicker, they're not as good for drawing detailed stuff, and I don't know. But they're pretty awesome. They're like my second favorite kind of thing. And oh, I didn't even say what they are. These are Papermate Inkjoy gel pens. Like there's regular Papermate Inkjoy, which are like ballpoints, which I don't really like ballpoints. But these gel pens are, they're not your average gel pen. They're like really extraordinary gel pens, actually. They write very nicely, very smoothly. Generally, like some of these are getting kind of old, so they sometimes skip a little bit, but generally they're really nice. I don't think these have necessarily color names, so I'll just do them. They are pigment, so they are generally light fast, fade resistant, archival. They don't soak through. None of these pens that I'm using soak through the paper, by the way. Smear resistant, fast drying, all that kind of stuff, generally speaking. Although certain papers, if you use a lot of these pens on certain kind of plasticky, really smooth papers will smear a little bit. You have to kind of wait for them to dry. This is a long stream, really. I didn't necessarily realize how many things I was going to be testing or how long it would take. But I'm kind of enjoying it. I know it's not that interesting for passers-by, but it's alright. No one's going to watch this replay, that's for sure. I have found that watercolor paper is not necessarily the best paper for pens because it has kind of a, they call it size. It's basically like a treatment to make it good for water medium, aqueous mediums, whatever, and it sort of interferes with some pens. But also some pens just need a good shake every once in a while to get the bubbles out of them. That's a lovely song. Let's just skip that one. I don't know what that's all about. Oh, it's a controller test cartridge. That's funny. Started getting a little impatient with this because I kind of want to finish this, but so I'm writing a little bit faster and sloppier. Who knows, man? It's back to that nostalgia thing. In the future, people might look back on these days the same way. People will be watching a replay of this like, oh yes, it was so nice before it started raining. Godzilla's on us. Yeah. Well, they won't be watching me. Because nostalgia has to do with something that you liked that was popular when you were young, and I am not popular, so I will be completely lost in the crowd of infinite terabytes just filling some server somewhere. Honestly, probably most of my stuff will get deleted at some point, just because they'll realize we don't make money off of this guy, and they'll just like mass delete all my videos after I'm gone, or even before I'm gone. I mean, like, you see like big platforms kind of disappear or change their terms of service when they realize that their business model isn't profitable. Like Google Photos is a good example. Before that was, what's the name of that other photo site that was owned by Yahoo, I think? Anyway, like, just offering free infinite server space for random people that don't make any money is not necessarily a good business model. Hey, Mr. Trance. And I think the big tech companies know that, but they're trying to, I don't know what their motive is, honestly. I guess trying to get more information, collecting information, but I don't think it's just like altruism, like trying to help poor people get exposure to the internet or anything like that. It's about information gathering, generally. Alright. I'll give that a chance to dry and maybe draw something up. I don't know. Or I have more pens to test, I guess. I kind of want to break that cycle just for a little bit. I'll do a quick demonstration of how I come up with drawings, basically. It's nothing revolutionary. I think there's other people that have done this before. I didn't necessarily learn it from somebody. It's kind of my own thing that I started doing, but I know it's probably something that other people do. So I'll just show how I do it. Photo sites probably always ran at a loss, just a front for the lizard people to swap their illicit clone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how they... Even YouTube, like, the vast majority of YouTubers don't make any money. Like, I would say probably 1 in 1,000, if... I mean, that's probably generous. 1 in 1,000 people on YouTube actually make any kind of money or make money for the YouTube site, Google. There's no way they're making money off of what I do. Not enough people watch it, so they just... Pretty sure I'm spending money for them. Okay, so what I like to do, this is how I draw. I'm just going to show how I do it. It's nothing revolutionary, but I like to just like get the thinnest thinnest fine line marker that I own, and one that's pigment based, so I know it's going to withstand some water. And I just like have no direction whatsoever here. I'm literally just drawing nothing. And then I stop at a certain point and I just look at it for a minute and I just see, I don't even know if that's showing up. It might be too light for the stream. Let me see if I can see it at all. I guess you can kind of see it. I look for something in there. Usually I see faces. Like, here's a face right here that I could make into a drawing. I like to use as many of the doodle lines as possible, so you can also kind of just make them disappear by overwhelming them with your own, whatever, like actual lines that you want. But again, I'm not a very good artist, so I'm literally just a doodler. Like, I'm not good at anatomy. I didn't train in any school, so I think what I do, probably anybody could do. Awesome, man. We'll have fun this time. I really gotta get some code done and posted by noon today, so TikTok. Cool, man. I appreciate the conversation and the company. Looks like we have a lot in common, so... Thank you very much for hanging out. Later. I actually kind of take advantage of the fact that I can't draw, so I keep things kind of loose and not well defined, so that even if someone, like a real artist could definitely look at these and say, wow, he can't draw, but like a normal person that isn't really well knowledge, or doesn't have a lot of knowledge, would enjoy it, and I enjoy it, so that's all that really matters, you know? You don't have to be a master artist to enjoy doing art. And I'd like to encourage other people that like to doodle and maybe don't consider themselves like super talented. You can probably do what I'm doing here, or something similar, and enjoy it, and that's all that really matters. Well, that was a weird line there, but whatever. This guy's just weird, all sorts of weird. His nose is a very strange shape. And that all comes from the doodle. I'm just kind of adding my own interpretation to it. Let's see, for some reason I think this is his rear end here. I think he's like... For some reason I saw him riding a bike or something, but I'm not sure I don't think I'm comfortable trying to draw a bike, so he's probably just kind of sitting or doing a really weird position. Let's put his other arm out here. Maybe he's like throwing a baseball or something. He might be a boxer, a really bad boxer. He's punching something. I don't know what he's doing, but he's having a good time. Got a really sunken chest here. I guess I could give him a little bit more bulk there. He's kind of goofy, though. Nothing wrong with being goofy. I know. I got it. Here we go. I'm gonna make it really fictional, strange contraption of some sort here. I don't know what he's doing exactly, but kind of like a bike. I don't know what it is. Very strange, large handled machine of some sort. It's not symmetrical either, and that doesn't matter because this is not a real thing. This probably has a kind of a very strange palm tree-like shape to it. And that's what I'm getting out of this. He's really working hard at this machine. It's pretty hard work. Not really sure what it does, but I like to keep it loose and sloppy. Partly it hides the fact that I don't know what I'm doing. You can just kind of sloppily, loosely make weird stuff. But also I kind of think it adds a little bit of character to... It leaves a little bit for interpretation when you don't make super well-defined shapes. It's kind of sloppy. I don't know, I enjoy doing kind of a sloppy style intentionally. Like when I'm coloring, I don't always stay in the lines, and like, you know, right there, that looks like I made a mistake, but I'm actually kind of intentionally loosely making lines that don't connect all the time. Alright, this guy is working really hard. I hope he gets paid well, because this looks like pretty hard work to me. Okay. Now I can add some color to it. I might end the stream after I'm done with this drawing, just so I don't just keep going forever. Oh, I like to... I guess I have a picture on my stream, but I like to get a picture of stuff before I color it in. I also like to get a picture of the doodle. I guess take a snapshot of my stream, but it's really low resolution. I usually try to take a photo with my phone or something. But just so I have a reference of how I created it and what my inspiration was. That guy's tongue is going over the top of his teeth somehow, but I'm just gonna ignore that. Let's see, what was I gonna get? I was gonna grab something. Already forgot. Oh, I was gonna get a phone to take a picture. Okay, so here's my main set of these. I have a set of 24 colors, and then I bought a few extras that I showed earlier on the stream, but there's actually 100 colors in this, and technically you can make any color just with like 3 or 4 or 5 colors, just mixing them, but it's kind of more fun when you don't have to mix quite as much. You can start out with a color that's closer to what you had in mind. I'm really bad at like character design and like clothing and all that stuff. Most everybody has just really generic shirts and pants that don't look like anything, because I don't really like adding those kind of details, and I'm more of a doodler. I don't really like, I'm not very good at imagining real world objects. Let's see, I think I found, even though this color is really dark, it's a dark brown, if I do it really light, it makes a decent skin tone. Obviously I could do darker for a person with some color in their skin, but let's see. All my people look pretty generic though. They're not like, oh, I mean, they're pretty random, I guess, but they don't really have any major character to their shapes and stuff. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I can't draw the same person more than once too. I was never good at that. Like a consistent look to a character. Pretty much every drawing I do is completely different every time. Just lagoon color that I really like, if I can find it. Lapis lazuli. I don't know where it is. Oh, nope. That's weird. I don't see it. Oh, it must be in my... I have a third pencil tin around here somewhere. Thought it had just other stuff in it, but it might have like 2 or 3 of these colors in it because I ran out of space. Yeah, here's the others. So here's what I mean by paint by color. Like, see how I'm not really doing anything special? I'm not like adding gradations or anything. I'm just filling in each shape with a different color. Very basic. And I could do shading, like I could, you know, put some dark stuff here where that fold is and some dark here under the shadows if I wanted to. But you can also just do fill it in with a single color with no shading at all, and then you can add shading just by doing hash marks with pens and stuff. Either way, you know, whatever you're comfortable with. It's all relatively easy. Obviously, you know, I'm speaking from some experience, so you might say, well, it's easy for you, and I understand that. But starting out, you can just keep it basic if you're interested in this kind of stuff, and then as you kind of gain confidence and skill, I'm going to give him some green here, I think, a little bit. All right. As for this weird machine, let's see. I tend to like to give like just solid background colors to my drawings too, just to give it some kind of negative space to set it apart. It's not particularly intentional. Mainly just because it's so easy to use these pencils to make nice solid areas of color that it's just fun, even if it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know what this blue is. It's not like he's flying through the sky. I suppose he could be, but that seems unlikely. it's just color, you know? Doesn't really matter what it is. And then, let's see, what else can we do? I need to decide what this thing's gonna look like. I don't even know what it is. Let's make it kind of a yellowish color. Yellow and red. I think that the bottom of it, I don't know why, but I'm seeing something kind of blue. I don't know which blue necessarily. Maybe this one, blue or purple. Sure. Start out with kind of a blue. And we might kind of grade it a little bit with something like a purplish color. And this thing is the thing that I envisioned to be red-ish. We'll fill that in with a red, kind of a plasticky gradation of some sort. And alright, and then let's see. Oh, I think I was also picturing these joint things being red also, more or less. Things on the end are gonna be green. I'm just gonna go wacky. Totally crazy. Okay. I think the handles are just straight up black. This isn't necessarily going to make sense or like look good with the colors I'm choosing. I just kind of like making colorful things, so I don't really care. Oh, I forgot about his hands. Alright, that's it. And then that's just so easy. Dip this in water, get most of the water off, and just start blending it all together. I usually try to do the light colors first, but because of how fine this point is, you can get into these details pretty easily without like accidentally pulling in some of the other colors. Very detailed brush. And once this first like layer is dry, I can go back and like shade in with other colors, or I can just go straight to the the pens on top of it. You know, there's quite a bit of flexibility. It might look like I'm doing some magical thing with this paint, but I'm literally just moving the brush back and forth. There's hardly any intentionality with these strokes. You might think, oh, he looks like he knows what he's doing or something, but nope. I'm literally just kind of making little circles and blending it together. The most intentional thing going on here is that I put a little bit more pencil down in the areas that I want it to be slightly darker. That's about it. Otherwise, I'm just blending it, getting it wet, spreading it around. There are some little tricks that I've learned, and I'm sure if you're like a better artist than me, there's definitely more tricks and techniques that could be shared, but all I'm pretty much doing is just getting the stuff wet and blending it together. It's very easy. That's why I'm enjoying this so much, this new medium, because I don't have to be good at it. I think anybody could do this. This right here, I added a couple different colors on top, so that's how I'm able to get this different gradations and shading. Is I have two different pencils, just I drew on top of it. So that's a slightly more advanced technique, but like not really. Like I'm still doing very basic stuff here that anybody could figure out. If you were really good at it, you could add several colors together and get all sorts of interesting effects. I keep it pretty basic. And here I added more of the red color to the right hand side than over on the left, so it looks like there's light coming from the right, or I mean the left or something. Nothing overly thought out. There's other areas where the light might be inconsistent. I just like to give it some kind of variation to give depth or something. You know, you don't have to be that intentional. Just honestly, doesn't matter. Of course, everybody's a critic, and some people will just criticize everything, but who cares? If you're enjoying what you do, then don't have to listen. Got a little sloppy there on his fingers, but okay. trick I'm doing there is I'm just pulling some of the extra dark pigment from over here. You can also lift off stuff to a certain degree. If it's still wet, I can like pull some of that off to get it not be so dark. Little tricks like that. It's similar to watercolor if you know how to do watercolor. Most of the stuff transfers over, which I don't know how to do watercolor, but I am aware of some of the concepts because I've watched a lot of videos with other people doing it. Here's the other way to get color on there. If you missed a spot, you can do it this way. I don't recommend applying these to wet paint because it'll kind of do unexpected things. But if you pull it from the pencil, it's a little bit easier to manage. Once this is fully dry though, then you can go over it with the pencil again. But if I were to do that right now, it would make a very dark mark that is kind of surprising. I used to draw cartoons when I was a teenager. I love to see people drawing cartoons, and I think this is my very first time seeing live. Nice. Yeah, I'm no expert. I just like having fun. That's what this is all about. I think anybody could do this. Got green hair, but thanks for dropping by and for the comment. Oh, I forgot to color his ear. Guess that's an ear. That's one thing, ears I've never known how to draw. If I wanted to get it even remotely somewhat correct, I would have to like look at a picture because I have no idea how to draw ears. Like literally decades have gone by and I still don't know how to draw ears. Okay, that's why I like cartoons. It doesn't even matter. You don't have to know how to draw. You can just draw weird stuff that doesn't exist, and it somehow is more believable because cartoons can have exaggerated, weird, non-existent things, and it's somehow forgivable. Okay. I'm just going to blend out this color on the edges just to give it kind of sort of a background. By the way, if anybody wants to see a more talented artist with some serious skills, check out Elfstar, ELFSAR. He's a friend of mine. He's on most platforms like YouTube, Twitch, Kick, etc. I think you'd really enjoy it. If you like what I'm doing and like art, whatever, you'd really enjoy his content. I don't do like regular art streams at all. This is maybe the first one I've ever done. I've maybe doodled before, but I am a multi-streamer on multi-platforms, but also a variety streamer, so I do all sorts of different things. The thing I do most often is hiking streams. I've been doing some soccer ball juggling streams. I started out as a piano streamer. I used to do piano practice streams. Next to gamers, there should be more artists, especially drawing artists, stream live to show their talents. Inspiring. There's actually a fair number, like, maybe not on Beam, I don't know, I don't watch on Beam that much, but like on Kick, there's quite a few. YouTube, there's, you know, a lot, but it's really hard to find live streamers on YouTube. But, and then Twitch, there's a ton of artists too, but you have to like search for them specifically because they may not show up on the homepage, but if you search by category like art or whatever, you'll find them. Anyway, this guy's working really hard on this machine. I don't even think he knows what he's doing. This is a really weird machine. Like I picture he's kind of like twisting it around and maybe he's sort of washing a floor. It's like a floor polisher or something. But these weird arms, like just like kind of like almost around springs, so they're kind of like flipping out. That's kind of why he's like bending over, because as he's twisting this thing around, these weird arms are like almost hitting him in the stomach, and it's just kind of exhausting. It's maybe not the most efficient machine ever made, but it serves some kind of purpose. It's sort of mysterious. I don't actually know what's going on here, but so I have to wait for this ink to fully dry. I mean, technically this is ink, but it looks like watercolor, and generically you would call these watercolor pencils, but they're technically ink pencils. They're called Derwent Inktense pencils. So it's kind of like if you ever got into Sumi art or Chinese brush paintings, they'll use like these solid black Sumi blocks where they kind of put water and get some ink off the block. These are very similar, they're just colored. So this is like a stick of ink inside the, the pencil case. And when it gets wet, it becomes colorful and like watercolor, and as soon as it's dried, it's pretty permanent, not entirely, but it won't spread around much. It's pretty set once it's dry. And so once this is fully dry, I'll go back and add some details with my little pens that I was testing earlier. I don't know if I have time to wait for that on stream, because it does take a little while to fully dry. I do have a heat gun, so if I do more of these streams, I'll probably grab that and like use it to dry the ink, so I can not sit here and do nothing for a while. But I don't know where it is honestly right now. I also have a hair dryer that would work just as good, but I don't think I want to do that. So I'll either just wait, or I don't know. I want to finish the drawing on the stream though, because otherwise you won't really see. Like this, you might think this is done enough, and you could stop here, it'd be fine. But I like to add just some random squiggle marks, some details, just to give it a little bit more character, I guess, and some more gradations, shading, shadows, whatever. I'll use some of these pens probably. Doesn't really take that long. I would say like 10 minutes, and it'll be dry enough that I can start doing the pens, because I don't use a lot of water. Like I said, when I dip it in the water, I get most of the water off on the paper towel, and then I spread stuff around. That also makes it go a little bit faster. Have a good day. I'll catch you back later for a longer time. Stay browsing the channels at the moment. Hey, no worries. Thanks for dropping by to say hi. I appreciate it. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I know I missed this thing, but I didn't choose a color. I'm gonna probably make it orange. This is, I mean, these colors clash and it's just completely crazy. That's kind of, I like that. I mean, I like weird stuff like that, so some people would be horrified by these colors, but I don't care. I like crazy colors. Almost drying it. I could probably start doing some. Let's see, what is that? I have kind of a brown color somewhere. Oftentimes I'll only use black as the detail adder or whatever. But if I have colors, I like to use them. Okay, so I wanted to use the brown just to add a little bit of detail on the face. It's really easy to overdo this, and I'm often guilty of it. It's just like knowing when to stop and less is more, all that kind of stuff. But sometimes I just want to keep going, don't know when to stop. And you learn something each time you do stuff, like make a mistake or something and you learn. It's like, oh, that looks stupid, and then you do it differently next time, perhaps. I would like this brown color if it was a little bit more subtle. I'm having a hard time getting like details that don't just look too dark and stuff. But you can often fix things though, like sometimes you make a terrible mistake and you're just like, I ruined it. But there's like, I don't know, you just kind of like keep doing more weird stuff. Kind of counterintuitive. But if the weirdness is consistent throughout, then the mistake weirdness isn't as obvious anymore. He's got freckles or something going on, I think. Okay. And once again, some of these shading situations could have been added by adding more of the pencil to begin with instead, but I kind of like the hash style. It just gives it a little bit of vibration and character that you wouldn't get just from the pencils alone. This color is actually awesome because it's very subtle. Like that brown was way too dark, and I can't really undo that at this point, but it's nicer when you have these subtle shades that you can barely even tell the difference, because then you can get some really nuanced color shifts. Like I would love to have just like 200 colors or something, just every possible color. And this brand of pen does make a lot of other colors that I don't have. So if I really get into this more, I might end up like buying some of those missing colors just so I can have more shading capabilities. Great to see you draw, my friend. Hey, man. Yeah, just doodling. Don't even ask me what this thing is. This guy is just like working really hard with this strange machine. He knows what he's doing, but all of us are just like, what is going on? I'll probably end the stream pretty soon. I wanted to finish this drawing, but I was doing a bunch of testing of paint, or I mean, pens and stuff earlier that took a long time, so I didn't really do a lot of drawing. But I'll probably do these a little bit more often. I'm not going to become an art streamer by any means, but I like to do just kind of a variety of stuff. By the way, everybody, this is Elfstar that I was talking about earlier. Very talented artist. If you like the art kind of streams and content. He also does gaming and stuff, but he's kind of known for his art. He does a lot of giveaways on his channel too. If you want to get some art from a very talented artist. I don't do giveaways like he does. That's kind of his thing. Plus, at this point, all my drawings are going to be inside my journal, so I can't rip out pages even if I wanted to. At least I wouldn't do that. Okay, I was going to make this orange, even though it's kind of stupid looking, but... The thing I don't like about these pigment pens is they kind of die quickly, and it's not because of necessarily something inherently wrong with them. It's something that the way they react to other mediums, they kind of like soak up and get ruined by certain types of mediums and papers. I don't know. So you kind of have to have a lot of them because, especially the really fine nibbed ones, they tend to like kind of die quickly. And they can be kind of expensive, so it's really better just to buy cheap ones, even though the expensive ones are better, usually. Like the Copic brand is really good, and some of these cost $3 or $4 each, so it feels like a lot, but it can be better just to buy cheap ones, because they do kind of tend to die when you're doing this kind of stuff. It's frustrating. Actually not really liking that Copic. It's kind of weak. Like the black isn't very black. I think I'm almost done. I don't really like what happened with his skin because of that dark brown. It was darker than I expected, but it's just one of those things you gotta live with sometimes. I could probably do a little bit of stuff to fix it, but I don't really feel like it. Let's see. Not those white pens. And add a few little highlights here and there. One trick using to sort of dull out some of those darks because I just overdid it. Alright, let's see what else. Anything else? I think I'm pretty much done. Let's. I need to give it a name. Wait a minute. Give his tongue a little bit of dark. Okay, we're gonna call this... Oh, I forgot what number we're on. $131. So I've done 131 drawings since the early March, since I started this journal sketch thing. And of course I kind of cheat on some of them, like that last page I had a bunch of pen tests, but I don't care. I'm making the rules. In honest days... Isn't there a word called, like, gorgonzola? I don't even know what it is, but it's like some kind of bean, or I don't know. Let's look it up. Make sure it has some acceptable meaning. Oh, it's like a type of cheese. Okay, that works. Gorgonzola. In honest days, you would think it'd be like an honest day's work or something, but nope, it's cool. Gone. Oh, all right, that's it. An honest day's gorgonzola. All right, I think I'm gonna end the stream. Get out of here. But yeah, I'll do these more occasionally, often, whatever, among the other kind of streams that I do. But thanks for everybody that dropped by. It was a pretty active stream. It's always fun. Like, usually my streams don't get any viewers, so it's always encouraging. Actually, you know what? I want something. I don't know exactly what I want, but I want something in that colored area. I think I'll just make some crazy squiggly marks. It just needs a little bit more energy, I think. There we go. An honest day's gorgonzola. Alright, I will catch you all later. Thanks for joining me today. Have a good rest of your weekend, Sunday, whatever. I'll probably end up sleeping in now that I stayed up so late. Or I'll stay up all night. Maybe I'll even do another live stream because I can't sleep. I don't know, but we'll just see. I will catch you all later. Oh, I forgot my OBS is completely messed up. I don't even, okay. There we go. See you guys later.